This is a big hockey game tonight. We're all going to watch it, and then we're all going to be very, very calm afterwards, no matter whether it's Canada who wins, it's the United States who wins this game. We're all going to have very calm and measured reactions to it. Welcome to the program. This is The Sheet once again for this Thursday, February the 20th. It is Canada facing off against the United States. The thrilling conclusion that we all hope for in the Four Nations Faceoff. Now, a couple of things. And I want to propose a couple of things here too. First of all, this is an absolutely stacked show. Tyler Yaremchuk's going to be here. Jonny Lazarus is going to be here. Jason Gregor's going to be here. Shayna Goldman's going to be here. I just kind of wanted to cram sort of all of our really close friends here, all in the same show, and just sort of surrender the floor for 10 or 15 minutes each and just get their thoughts on what they've seen, what they anticipate tonight. And for every single guest, the question revolves around this. What is your favorite both Canadian and American hockey moments? We'll go over those in a couple of moments. But Zach Phillips, we have a big show on the horizon. Let me get to the outline here. And before we bring Tyler aboard, I want to make a couple of different points here and maybe try to encourage something. We'll see how this goes. Daily outlines presented by our friends and partners at FanDuel, North America's #1 sportsbook app provider. Coming up on the show today, there he is, Tyler Yaremchuk. You know him from DFO Live. He's going to come up in a couple of moments. Followed by Jonny Lazarus from Morning Cup of Hockey. I think they're sitting beside each other right now as we speak. It'll be an interesting transition. Jason Gregor, whose own show is going to hit the airwaves here shortly, will drop by the program. Look forward to talking to Jason as well, star of his own show and DFO Rundown as well. Shayna Goldman from the Too Many Men podcast and The Athletic will stop by, and this is who we're going to be talking to today, and we'll be talking to you if you're in the chat on YouTube as well. And we're talking about the big game, Canada-USA. Right now, nothing else exists. I know that Boston's facing off against Ottawa in the PWHL. Got it. This is the one that everybody has their eyeballs on tonight. Now, I want to ask you a question. And this is one that I'm going to ask Laz a little bit later on, too.
Okay.
Ever since Saturday, we've seen, and on both sides. Not that I'm trying to both sides everything in my life, but on both sides here. We've seen the best and worst out of people leading up into this one. I always sort of sideways chuckle when I hear Canadians, by the way, and as a Canadian myself, I say this, say that, you know what, we got to leave politics out of hockey. So, you know that Summit Series in 72 that Canadians cannot stop talking about outside of 1969 World Championships, and we'll get to that in a couple of moments. That was the most political hockey series ever. You talk to the players, right? And still, to this day, they will tell you. And you talk to the fans, you talk to the organizers, you talk to the coaches, you talk to everybody around it. This wasn't just, let's just see who'll win. Now we'll have the NHLers facing off against the Soviets. You talk to them, they tell you, this was war. This was hell. This was our way of life against their way of life. Whoa. Everybody hearing this, in all my life, I'll be like, hang on, this is a hockey game. I understand that some competitions will take on a political import that others won't, but the idea that leave politics out of major sporting events such as 1972 or as we're seeing right now, given the very specific political climate, I think is folly because it's always been there. Sometimes it's not, but there's always a gentle undercurrent of it when you're facing off country versus country. Here's what I want to submit to you. And I'm going to submit this to Jonny Lazarus as well. Whoever wins tonight, it's not going to be nice out there. Right? No matter what happens, there's going to be nothing gentle about the end of this game, right? This is just going to throw another log onto the fire.
Yeah.
How would you feel about this? If indeed you think that we're at a place right now where we need the temperature turned down at the end of this game. First of all, do you believe that we should have the temperature turned down a little bit between these two countries and this sport? Or are you someone that just says, no, man, throw more logs?
I want more logs.
You want more logs. Okay. I want the temperature turned down a little bit.
Okay.
And for those that want to maintain, this is just a game. 1976 Canada Cup was the first big one for me. I was too young for 72. 76, I was really young and very impressionable, obviously, and loved it. And one of the things that always stuck with me, and I like it when I see it in other sports, and I love when I see it as seldom as I do in hockey, at the end of the final game, and that is Canada beating Czechoslovakia, Daryl Sittler with the game-winning goal past Vladimir Zarilla. By the way, that was Dominik Hasek's favorite goaltender. Bobby Orr gets the MVP of the tournament. Personally, I think that Dennis Potvin should have got it, but that's a conversation for a history show somewhere down the road. Bobby Orr gets the MVP. But before that, both Team Canada and the Czechs did a jersey swap. You know, we always think of the iconic photo of Bobby Orr in 1971 and the pass from Sanderson and floating through the air. It's one of the great hockey photographs of all time. It's not my favorite Bobby Orr photograph. This one is. It's my favorite Bobby Orr photograph. Oldřich Makač is the defenseman, who are number 4 with Czechoslovakia. And you can see on that line, they're all wearing Czechoslovakian sweaters, but that's Team Canada after the jersey swap. And Bobby Orr gets Oldřich Makač, and he passed away, I want to say about 15 years ago. But there he is accepting his award as the tournament MVP. By the way, as a quick aside, that Czechoslovakian jersey lives about an hour and a half away from my house in Aurelia at Bill Waters' house, former agent, former Leafs assistant general manager, and my former co-host on Leafs Lunch about 1 million years ago. He has that in his basement. He has like a little mini Hall of Fame. He has like the Bobby Orr pinball machine, and he's got that jersey in his basement.
That's
awesome. You
awesome.
think as a way to turn things down a little bit today, if they swapped jerseys at the end of this game, how would you feel about it?
I don't think that I don't know that it would succeed in turning things down. I don't know. I was not prepared for this question. I was trying to think my answer as it was going along. I figured where it was going.
Okay, you know what? We can come back to you a little bit later on. But I'm just saying, like, as a way to sort of like remind everybody here, as much as like there's a lot of forces that want to make this Canada versus America, and we all hate each other, and this is like the new Cold War or something like that. Like, I keep impressing on people, like, Canadians don't hate Americans, right? And I would argue too, the lion's share of Americans don't hate Canadians, but that's the way a lot of this is being portrayed here. Like, maybe just as a way to turn the temperature down a little bit. What would you do if, like, Matthew Tkachuk skated to center ice and took off his jersey and handed it to Brandon Hagel?
Okay, so that's a good way to put it, because I'll say I hate doing, like, I hate anything politics. It would have to be an American, probably likely Tkachuk, who extends the offer, not the other way around. I think.
Oh, you insufferable
if a Canadian goes
you.
across and goes to do it, it's like coward, like, you know, like that's the conversation. And then you know what probably happens tomorrow, Jeff, after the Canadian offers that?
What?
Boom, right back up, more logs on the fire. The Canadians are soft; they're surrendering to the U.S. It's like,
this is a surrender.
Yeah, like, okay, hold on.
Oh, otherwise it's just going to be like, USA wins, and it's all going to be like, oh, is Trump going to give this to Putin too? It's going to be like, nonsense. Oh, is that? I thought the trophy was going to the Hall of Fame Resource Center. It's going to the Kremlin. Oh, wow. Like, that's going to be social media tonight. Like, I swear, you know it. Like, this is what this is going to be. This is going to be as predictable as the booing on Saturday at the Bell Center. Is what it's going to be.
Yes, correct. I don't know. I don't think it turns the temperature down that much, even if it does happen. I think that it's still just such a cesspool on the internet that, like, exchanging of jerseys is
You've given up all. You're too
either.
young to be this cynical. I'm supposed to be cynical here.
No.
I'm the older of the two of us. I'm supposed to be the cynical, bitter old man, not you. You're supposed to be, like, full of, like, optimism, and everything's an opportunity, and every day's a new day to build something, and no.
Also, after this, like, 2026 comes around, Canada, U.S., Olympic gold medal, like, I'm driving cars down past the border, double birding the States, and it's nothing about the people. It's just Go Canada. That's it. That's it, Jeff. I'm
right.
all in here, man.
All right. Okay, fine. All right. I'll
Yeah.
try to find someone else whose tree I can bark up here on this one. So Tyler Yaremchuk's going to join us in a couple of seconds. Do we have Tyler standing by? Is he
Yes,
set to
we
go?
do.
Let's bring him on.
Yes.
He is the starter of DFO Live. He joins me now. The one and only Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation, who is on the scene now. Give me the sort of scene set here. Nice feathers, by the way.
No.
Oh, you got the good do going on here. There's something about Tyler. Give me the scene set here in Boston. What's the mood?
So did DFO live from a bar called Banners, which is
Yes,
attached
saw
to
that.
the TD Garden. At 11 a.m. when I got there to start getting ready for the show, there was a table of Canadian hockey fans drinking a full 3-foot high tower of beer. So everyone here is dialed in on game day. Like everywhere you go, the lineup at the merch store at 10:30 this morning was like out the door and around. It was crazy. Like everyone you see is wearing either red or blue. This city, even people who aren't going to the game, are totally dialed in. If you're just walking around, like I had to walk to like the subway station to get up to where we're doing the show, and like you just hear people being like, "Oh, the game tonight, the game tonight, the game tonight." Like it's crazy.
Do you have the one thing that I want to ask everybody on the show here today, and Jonny Lazarus, I believe, was like standing next to you or sitting next to you, and he's going to get this question in a second. Well, Tyler, when I say what's your favorite either U.S. hockey moment or your favorite Canadian hockey moment, what is it for you?
Yeah, so I thinking about this a little bit, like, I mean, everyone has a good golden goal story, right? Everyone remembers where they were when Sidney Crosby scored that goal in 2010. But when I think of Canada and USA, the one game that always comes and jumps to my head first is the 2009 World Juniors, that game on New Year's Eve between Canada and the USA. And part of it, too, is because, like, I was 12 years old. So like that was in like the prime of like starting to really love hockey, and the World Juniors meant so much. And they went down 3-0 in that game. They come back, tie it up before the end of the period. And I just remember being a kid and thinking John Tavares' empty netter to seal it up was so cool. He kind of had like one hand on the stick, and then it was the hat trick goal as well. Like I remember that game so vividly, and it was one of the first moments I remember watching a Team Canada game and being like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's like I said off the top of the show, like it can bring out the best and it can also bring out the worst, and we've seen both, and we see it at every single tournament. Do you have? I'm going to go on a fishing trip here for you, and this may be tough as a Canadian to admit, but do you have a favorite or one that stands out for you, or one that maybe you just want to recognize that doesn't have enough audience? U.S. hockey moment, like, and I'll give you a chance to think, because I'll throw out one that, because there's a lot of chatter whenever there's these tournaments like this, and the USA does well. We always think back to Herb Brooks in 1980 and the game against the Soviets, even though it was like the game against the Finns that ended up winning it for the USA, and that was very much in doubt for a large part of the game. For one thing that's kind of been lost to history is the USA game against Sweden. Like, USA's losing this game, and they come back and tie it, and it's Bill Baker who scores the game-tying goal with 27 seconds left. You can make the argument that at that time, it was the biggest, most important goal in the history of U.S. hockey. Baker went on to play in the NHL. He was a Montreal Canadiens draft pick, played with the Rockies, played with the Blues. He was one of the players traded, actually, by Joe. He was one of the players traded for Joe Micheletti. All you broadcast fans out there. Anyhow, is there a USA hockey moment that Tyler Yaremchuk thinks of and says, you know what, this deserves more concert, or this one's burned into my brain forever?
Oh man, it's such a good question. Like I'm trying to rack my brain through like the
there are a
I've watched and all
few.
that.
Put down the flag. Come on,
Well,
Tyler, in the spirit of brotherhood between Canada and the U.S.
Yeah. Now that I mean, my brain was in total World Juniors mode going back through this.
Sure.
The John Carlson OT winner, I remember being very sad about that one, but like that was electric.
Did you ever forgive Martin Jones for letting that in?
Yeah, but that celebration John Carlson had, I remember that being so cool. For me, though, like, whatever, maybe I can't put down the flag. Maybe that's my problem in this whole exercise here. But, like, in my life, they haven't had that much international success. I love the movie Miracle. I love that story. I never get tired of it. Even as a Canadian, it pulls at your heartstrings and
it's great.
Really gets you going. But, like, they haven't won a lot in the 27 years I've been on this earth.
All right. Do with that what you will, American hockey fans, and we'll move along and have a quick little preview of what you expect to see tonight. Like, I have no clue. All I know is that the sun is going to come up tomorrow, and there's going to be NHL hockey this weekend. And next year there's going to be an Olympic hockey tournament. We're going to do this all over again. What do you think tonight looks like? Like, where is it drawn for you?
And maybe this is like a lame answer, but like power on power is just what I keep coming to, and not in the sense of like Tkachuk versus McDavid or whatever. Like, the power and the strength of this American team is Connor Hellebuck between the pipes. And Paul Paduti at Daily Faceoff wrote a great piece kind of going back through other best on best finals and how the team with the best goalie wins way more often than they lose. So if you're an American fan and you're looking at that, you're going, nice. Connor Hellebuck's miles better than Jordan Binnington. But then there's another part that Paul says, the team with the most and best superstars usually wins the game. So can Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby, can they outperform Connor Hellebuck? Like I've been saying, I don't think Canada has a path to victory that is a 2-1 game, a 1-0 game, even a 3-1 game. I think they are going to need a fourth goal, and they're going to need to solve Connor Hellebuck 4 times in this hockey game if they want to win. So that means Connor McDavid has to have a vintage moment. That means Nathan McKinnon has to do something impactful. Probably means Sidney Crosby has to do something. And then on top of that, you probably need something from the bottom 6. Like this Canadian offensive attack, and it's something John Cooper actually spoke about today. He said, our game against the Americans on Saturday, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but he said, for 180 feet, it was great. For 20 feet, it wasn't. Can Canada get better at finishing? Because that is their strength. This isn't the 2014 team or the 2016 team that can go, Carey Price is going to have a 970 whatever, and we're going to be good if we score once or twice. They have to score to win, and they have to solve Connor Hellebuck. That's the one thing I'm looking at.
Do you think that whoever comes out the star of this game is going to be the MVP? Like right now, you can look at it and say, you know what, Connor Hellebuck is like he's leading going in, but if anyone has a big game here, does that pretty much guarantee them, regardless of who it is, does that pretty much guarantee them the MVP?
Yeah, I think so. I'll be really intrigued to see how the voting comes out because, let's say the star of this game from an American perspective is, I don't know, pick someone in the middle of the lineup. JT Miller scores twice, has a really big hit that gets the crowd going. Okay, is that enough to outshine how important Connor Hellebuck was for the bulk of this tournament? Like, how the voters view this is going to be interesting. For Canada, I do think, again, one of 29, 97, or 87 are going to be the stars and score a big goal. And if that's the case, then it's very easy to just point to whoever has the game winner out of those 3 and go, they're obviously the MVP because you wouldn't have won the tournament without that last goal. Yeah. So I do think it's maybe like weighted 70% this game, 30% what they've done elsewhere.
You've been there in Montreal, you're there in Boston. What's been your biggest highlight, biggest takeaways? We bid you good afternoon and let you start with your nervous Canadian pacing, as we all do before big hockey games. What's been your big takeaway from this one, Tyler?
My favorite moment was before that Canada-USA game as the Bell Center crowd did their Ole chant and they just panned to different players on the Jumbotron. And when they showed Brad Marchand, that crowd went absolutely bananas. And I'm like, this is what it's all about. We're in the cathedral of hockey. And Montreal Canadiens fans are getting more excited for Brad Marchand than they are any other player that they're showing on the screen. It was just, that was everything to me. The intensity, the energy in that building. Like I was vibrating and shaking. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking back to that moment. That's the one thing I don't think I'll ever forget is being in that building on Saturday night and just feeling the energy before puck drop.
There's nothing like it. Everyone has to have the Montreal experience, and especially on a Saturday night and before a game like that. I'm just saying, like Montreal Canadiens, but you had the Canada versus USA experience, and that is a special one. Bud, great job in Montreal and in Boston. Who knows how this thing's going to end up, but you're walking away with a lot of great experiences, pal, and it's good to see. Thanks for stopping by, Tyler, as always, pal.
Yeah, no problem. And I know you told me to put down the flag at one point. Just a heads up, Jonny Lazarus is wearing a Team USA sweatshirt, so enjoy that.
Okay, slide him in. We'll do the awkward handover. We're gonna do like a slick transition, or like go one shot to me and then come back, and all of a sudden Laz is there. But like we'll drop all pretenses. There he is. Look at the feathers. He's styled. He's ready to go. He's slick. He's unleashed on Boston. Ladies and gentlemen, the crack of dawn has to be careful around Jonny Lazarus.
They've called me a Ranger jock sniffer. Now I'm a Team USA. Now I'm a Team USA jock sniffer. I got the Matthew Tkachuk haircut yesterday.
Yeah, look at you. You're dialed. You're ready to go. Well, let me start with the big question that I'm asking everybody today. Because, like, we've all done the analysis of this one and who's in and who's not, and the drama of Quinn Hughes and the unfortunate situation with Charlie McAvoy, and we've been through all of it. Today is one of those. A couple of things. One, I just want to talk memories with you. And I want to try to, since you're the one on this show who played at the highest level, I do want to ask you something sort of theoretically here. But favorite USA hockey moment of all time, and do you have a Canadian hockey moment that comes to mind?
It's funny, actually.
I threw out Bill Baker of 1980 in that USA Sweden game. It's kind of a hipster pick, but if he doesn't score that goal with 27 seconds left against the Swedes, miracle on ice doesn't happen. Like, that is one of the biggest goals in USA hockey history that doesn't get enough attention. But anyway, what's your US hockey memory?
Yeah, I mean, I think memory is stronger than moment for me, because the moment isn't necessarily one that is like a positive because they ended up losing the game. But I remember being, 13, 14 years old in my full equipment in the lobby of Iceworks arena. I don't know. I think it's Iceworks something, where the Islanders practice, where I played my youth hockey, watching the last 2 minutes of the gold medal game in 2010. They delayed our game. They delayed the start of it because it was 2-1. Everyone obviously was out in the lobby watching the end of the game, and Zach Parise ties it up. And the whole place, the whole rink, parents, kids, everyone waiting to go on the ice, stopped and watched the end of the game. And we all went nuts when Parise tied it. Again, the moment isn't necessarily the best because they lost the game, but I remember that vividly, being a kid, like watching that happen and, hugging everybody like, oh my God, we can actually beat them, you know? And so it's tough, the outcome, but I'll never forget that. And then the World Junior game to me, I think
Saskatoon?
It was
The Saskatoon one?
That one's obvious, but I think it was 2017, the year that the United States won in Montreal in the shootout.
Yeah.
That was the first time I had like friends on the team that won it, watching Fox, McAvoy, those guys. And we played BU 5 days after they won the World Junior. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was crapping my pants lining up next to these guys after they won the World Junior. But seeing your friends do it and doing it on Canadian soil obviously is super special too. But yeah, those are probably the two that stand out. But Tyler's game, that 2009 game, was so sick. New Year's Eve. Yeah. I remember that vividly as well. That was awesome. That John Tavares hat trick was nasty. That was the first time I had heard of the World Juniors too. So that was like my introduction to it.
Do you have a favorite Canadian moment? Are you willing to put your American flag down and say, you know what, there was a Canadian moment that's always stuck with me?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when Jordan Eberle tied it with 5 seconds left against Russia, I think in that 2009 tournament, that was nasty. Shea Weber shooting the puck through the net. That could be a favorite Canadian moment that gets overlooked.
Hang on, pause.
Yeah.
Have you ever broken the glass with a shot?
I don't think so. Not that I can remember.
Have you ever been in a game where someone broke the glass? I'm not going to ask you if you shot it through the net because that's so rare, but you ever been part of a game where someone shot it so hard they broke the glass?
I was actually in a game where someone cellied and jumped into the glass and went through it. They went through it.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think I was in that game.
Nice.
In Jersey. But yeah.
All right. So here's what I want to ask you. As a player, I need you to put your player hat on here.
Okay.
This is what I'm mentioning at the top of the show. You know this. Canadians don't hate Americans. I know that Americans don't hate Canadians. There is a certain political temperature that's really high between these two countries. One of my favorite things in sports, and I was showing a picture of Bobby Orr from '76 when Canada beat Czechoslovakia in the final of the inaugural Canada Cup. And what they did was a jersey swap. And Bobby Orr, as he gets the MVP of the tournament, trophies being awarded at center ice, he's wearing a jersey of Aldrich Makac of Czechoslovakia. The jersey swap. How would you feel if at the end of today's game, Canadians and Americans swap jerseys?
I don't think it will ever happen.
Hang on, I'm not asking if you ever think it'll happen. I'm saying, like, as a player, how would you feel about it? Huh?
Yeah, if the U.S. just lose 5-0, I wouldn't want to do that. That'd be demoralizing. Yeah. If it's like an overtime game, maybe, but if we just got the wheels beaten off us, I'm going right into that room. I don't want to talk to anybody.
No.
No matter how you lose, you don't, listen, at the end of the day, I think when this tournament does conclude, the respect will show. Like, they probably will do a handshake line, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they've been doing that throughout the tournament. I don't think they have. But I imagine we'll see that tonight, and that'll be a great handshake line as well, right? USA, Canada, after a great 2 weeks to conclude everything and show that now that this tournament's over again, everyone's friends again, but they're not going to be friends for the 60 minutes tonight. That's for sure. A jersey swap between if the captains did it, maybe that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But the whole team to do it. What are they going to do? The pins before the game?
Yeah, we're back at the Quebec PB tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all Quebec City at the old Colisée, exchanging pins.
Yeah.
What do you expect tonight? What are you looking for tonight? Like, what are you curious about tonight?
Well, I have one wish, actually.
Okay, go.
That I just tweeted. I was thinking back to Boston, big moments, and I think back to Nathan Horton, Game 6, 2011.
Yep.
Camera pans to him, rally towel going.
Yep.
TD Garden fired up. Anthems conclude tonight, anticipating the puck drop. If that camera pans to Charlie McAvoy, who just posted that he's out of the hospital, and McAvoy gets a USA chant going or something, man, that'd be something, huh? That'd be really cool. In Boston, the Bruin assistant captain. I think that'd be a really cool moment. Like, I really hope they do that. But as far as the game goes, I think it's going to be scoreless till halfway. First goal comes in the second period, and the game opens up from there. I think the first 10 minutes is going to be there's going to be no puck out there. Basically, everyone just throwing the body, trying to feel yourself into the game. But do
you think so, or is it gonna? Do you think like everyone's gonna be like out there just being reckless with their bodies, or is it just gonna be like it could be like a boxing match where nobody really wants to put themselves in a vulnerable position, so it's just like jab, jab, dance.
I just think
jab, jab, dance, dance.
Yeah, no one's gonna take a chance. I think everyone's like, no one wants to be responsible for a goal the other way, right? In a game like this, the last thing you want is for yourself to make a mistake and the puck goes in your own net. Like, that's something that will live on forever. Like, this is a game that I know how you feel that it's a one-off, but to me, like, this game will be talked about forever. It will. This is the first of its kind, the only of its kind. Yep. And quite frankly, it's been the best of its kind in hockey. Like, everyone is going to be glued to the TV tonight watching this game. Yeah, and I know I better have my guy.
I get it. Listen, you've had a great tournament. The show's been great. I know you had a great experience in Montreal. I know you're looking forward to tonight. You have the day off. Do you have the day off tomorrow? You have
we're doing a Friday show.
You guys are doing a Friday show tomorrow. Okay, so
like, Friday show.
I don't know. You're just gonna go like right from the saloon or the rando's place that you're at tonight, right to the show. Is that the way it's gonna go tonight for you, Laz?
That's the plan. I have an invite to Loud Luxury for like a Sports Illustrated NHL Four Nations party, and
that's awesome.
Plan to meet my wife there tonight.
Okay, well, make good choices tonight, young Laz. Make good choices, make good decisions, young man. Enjoy the game and enjoy the after party as well. We'll check back soon. Thanks, pal.
Thanks, Jeff. You're the best. Appreciate it.
There he is, Jonny Lazarus. From Morning Cup of Hockey, a show that you should all be watching, and specifically watch tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, right here at our Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. Jonny Lazarus and Colby Cohen actually working 5 days a week. And someone who probably feels like he works 8 days a week is Jason Gregor, hosts his own daily show, DFO Rundown as well. I don't know what else you do, Jason, but I'm sure you're busy 24/7 because to keep those two things afloat, you got to be going at it full time. So, Gregor, thanks so much for stopping by. Much appreciated. How are you today, Jason?
Jeffrey, I'm pretty good, man. I'm actually a little disappointed in myself because I woke up today and realized that I have I've lost my Canada T-shirt. And I do kind of know where I lost it, but I didn't know I lost it or remember I lost it or misplaced it, left it at a place until today when I was like, oh, I'm going to get my Canada jersey on to wear for the game tonight. But
oh no,
don't have one. So I got the red backdrop and I'm wearing a black shirt because Canada sometimes does go with the black unis.
I appreciate that. Do you know where you may have misplaced said shirt, and would you like to share that with everybody? Is there a good story that goes with it? Is there a good story that goes with it?
just a guy's golf trip, and you know
right.
how those go. Sometimes you just I remember leaving 2 pieces of clothes in. I put it in a drawer trying to be all Mr. Mature and fold my clothes, and then I forgot the drawer in the closet.
Oh no!
And so
Oh no!
two of my favorite shirts were left there. And then when I called I called the condo place and said, "Hey, and I know I left them in there." They're like, "Oh, they're not there," and I'm like, as if they're not there. Like, where else would they be? But whatever. So,
Nonetheless, real quick before we get your thoughts on tonight and the tournament so far, and maybe if there's any spillover into the NHL, by way of, hey, this worked, let's try this in the NHL. Favorite Canadian hockey moment, and if you have an American one, if you could share that one too. But starting us off, favorite Canadian hockey moment.
it's a good question. There's it kind of changes at different times of your life. When I was a kid, it was the '87 Canada Cup, man. Like that was
the best.
that was unreal. Gretzky and Lemieux together. They're going against the Russians. It's a best of 3. All the games are 6-5. That to me was unreal. Then if now this isn't an American one that they like, but the Peter Mueller, Jonathan Taves 2006-7 World Junior shootout where they went toe to toe, that was pretty unreal. And if you're going an American one, it has to be '96 World Cup. That's obviously been the peak of I wasn't old enough really. Like I've seen Miracle, I've seen the movie, I've read all about it, but I didn't experience it. So I wouldn't pick that one. I would pick the '96 World Cup for the USA.
I think now, first of all, Canadians still obsess about 72, and the books keep coming, and the stories keep coming, and the documentaries keep coming. 87, as you mentioned, at that point, we said to ourselves, this is the best hockey we've ever seen. Like, this is the best hockey ever played, period. But I'm with you on 96, and I'll tell you what, I'm curious where you're at on this one. I'll put the hockey in 96 up against the hockey in 97. The two tournaments to me are even. Canadians, we don't talk about 96 a lot because we didn't win. We didn't win that tournament. But as far as like the quality of play goes, it was right there with 87 for me. How about you?
Yeah, well, again, it's 87 it's hard to when you think about music in your life that you love, that they talk about the psychology of our brain and at certain times in our life. And when we had nothing else that really impacts us, and I'm a teenager and I don't have any care in the world, like my parents are paying all the bills and I'm just showing up, that it's hard to get past that 87, watching it, really kind of seeing it. So that hockey's different and the game's changed. And I hear a lot of people, oh, well, this is the greatest bunch of players. And I think it's so disrespectful to say that about past teams. The game's evolved and changed. And you know what? There's been a lot of great players on a lot of these teams. You know what? The game is fast, great, but fast doesn't always mean better hockey.
I agree.
We could have a whole conversation. I actually had a really good chat with Corey Perry, who has played and who has won and lost maybe more big games than any guy in the NHL. Like he's lost 4 of the last 5 Stanley Cups. He's won a cup. He's won 2 Olympic golds. He's won a World Cup. He's won a World Championship. He's won a Memorial Cup, and he's lost some big ones. And I got his thoughts on the game tonight, and he's obviously excited to watch it and knows what the players are going through. But afterwards we had a conversation about the game and fast. And Corey Perry is not going to win you any foot races, even in his prime.
No,
he wasn't going to win you foot races, Jeff. No. But he thinks the game, and he play. And sometimes I look at the game today, and it's faster, but it's fast when not very much happens. Not so much in this tournament, but faster doesn't always mean better.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point too. That you look at that. There was 2003 draft, and we just had Louis Eriksson officially retire. When you look at that first round specifically, and I have to go back and look at all of them, but off the top of my head, Corey Perry may win that draft. He may be the last man standing in the NHL from that draft. And he's one of the, with all due respect, Corey Perry, one of the worst skaters. And that was one of the best, one of the best drafts in the history of the NHL. One of the worst skaters going to win that draft.
Yeah, no surprise, Jeff, that if you go back and look at the 2 greatest drafts, 79 and 2003, and look at the 2003 age group and when they came to the NHL because of the lockout. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Oh, so dude, yes. When you're forced either to go back to your junior team or spend a year in the American League,
develop more.
Oh, listen, that is for a whole different show. You are so on the. None of those guys were rushed. where they all having, and there's so many of them that are going to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and they have cups and they have trophies because they had that one extra year. Oh, you're so right, where they had to go either to the American League or back to junior. Oh, you're so right about that one. Let me ask you, as we only have a couple of moments with you. I know you have your own show to do as well.
Oh, I got lots of time, buddy.
Do you? Okay. Well, let me settle in for a couple of things here. What does this one look like to you? Like, as people are filing in TD Garden tonight, Canada versus USA, political undertones are there. You can't avoid them. It's obvious. I was making the point off the top of the show, Jason, that I kind of sideways snicker when I hear Canadians say, like, don't make hockey political. And I think about 1972, and all the players will talk about it was our way of life against their way of life, and it was war. It's like, whoa. We're obsessed about a hockey tournament that was intensely political. It's always there when you do nation versus nation. But you get in the building. What is this one like for you?
Well, it's never been there between Canada and U.S. to this degree, when you have the president of one country, embarrassing and insulting the other country by making ridiculous asinine claims about making a whole country one state. We could just go down to the sheer size of Canada and talk about how it would be the biggest state by like 10, 15 times, like in size and everything else, and thinking that all Canadians are suddenly going to be one. Like, it's just so. It's so disrespectful that it's beyond belief to me. So it does add a different layer for sure. And you know what? Hey, when you're in sporting events, it's the old Michael Jordan, and you'll find anything to get motivated. Now, I don't think the players are necessarily using it a whole bunch, but a lot of Canadian fans are, and I think they should be. You should want to love your country and stand up for it and say, hey, you know what, man? No country's perfect. We got some problems, but hey, I can name a lot of problems down in the U.S. as well. So. Anybody who suggests it's not political, but you can't ignore what's going on, right?
Of course.
When the mouthpiece keeps spouting off. So it happens. It adds a different element to it. I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this game. Like, this is great for USA hockey because, you have ESPN and other places that, that would ignore hockey like the plague for the longest time. And now they're talking about it all the time, and they're patriotic, and it's great. So, hey, trust me, Jeff, there's never been a time that I'm rooting more for a Canadian win than tonight. I'll tell you that right now. It's like, you want to accuse me of being a Canadian homer? Fire it up. I'll put my hand up and say all day, every day, because of everything else that's going on. And that adds to it. It's exciting. I can't wait for the puck to drop. I don't think we're going to see 3 tilts in the first 9 seconds again. But and that game, by the way, was awesome. Like, that just added to it. I love it. And so I think, what am I expecting tonight? Well, I think Canada, the players have talked about it. They're not going to pass up as many chances. Doesn't mean they're going to score more, but they passed up some of their best chances. I felt like they got comfortable and settled, and the Americans played almost a perfect game. They didn't make a key mistake, the U.S. and Canada did. Binnington on the first goal, it's a weak goal, and Crosby, of all people, on the second goal, right? Yeah. And that's what Corey Perry talked about. He said, in these big games, he's played in a ton of them, it comes down to really just who makes the fewer mistakes. You can create lots of chances, and the other goalie can be hot, but it's who makes the big key mistakes. And so that's got to be lesson tonight for Canada. And I do think Canada's going to attack more. And the other thing, Jeff, and we saw it, the moving the lines around made a difference. I've been pounding for Braden Point to be in the top 6 from the time the tournament started. He's one of their best players. He should be in the top 6. Yeah. And he's quick, and he's smart, and he's fast. And Mark Stone, he's a style of guy that, maybe similar to a Hyman. So, he can play with McDavid, I think, and he's hard, and, he's a highly emotional player. So I like the lines. The Reinhart going with McKinnon and Crosby, for whatever reason, it woke him up, because he didn't do very much at all in the first 2 games. So I think Canada's top 2 lines are going to be better. I'm curious to see how Sanderson handles it. Like, this is a tough game to come in for a young guy, but I'm sure if you're Steve Staios, the GM of the Sens, you're loving this. Like, what a great opportunity for his young player alongside Brady Tkachuk to be in a big game like this. No one in that organization's been in a big game since 2017. So, they want it. And the atmosphere in Boston, I'm sure, is going to be electric. I think it's just going to be like the first 5 minutes, man. The anticipation from the players, the media, and every fan watching is just going to be awesome. I can't wait. What are we like? Almost
I know,
4.5 hours. I'm like, tick tock. Let's speed it up. I want to get there.
Okay, let me close on this then. I was making this point yesterday that the NHL owes a big thank you to 2 people specifically, and they're both on Team USA, and that is Matt and Brady, the Tkachuks, who have an idea of the moment and a sense of occasion. Those 3 fights, and specifically the 2 Tkachuk fights, lit this thing on fire. And everyone started texting and calling, and you got to watch this. And the next thing you know, Tom Brady's tweeting about and everybody is glued to this thing. Everybody's all over this thing right away. And that is carried in to this week and is carried into tonight, where unprompted people, like we just had this conversation, unprompted, you'll say, I don't know if we're going to see three tilts, but that's on everybody's mind because of what those two players created here. Do you have a thought on the Tkachuks kind of making this tournament right now?
Well, they definitely played a role for sure. JT Miller, when Brady fought Sam Bennett, JT Miller was trying to get anybody to fight at the same time. So I think he probably wanted it just as much. But hey, I give Sam Bennett credit. I give Brendan Hagel didn't have to take that fight, right? But he does, and now do I think he knew it was coming? Hagel and Tkachuk are big rivals in Tampa and Florida, right? Like, I don't think they were immune to, and I don't think John Cooper was completely immune to it. If you look who he started, like, he went with Hagel, and then who is out there? It's Bennett right away. Like, there's not many guys that are going to fight, right? But they were out there. And so, you know what? If you want to get a little bit more credit, no problem. It's like Tkachuk single-handedly at times helped, and you always need another guy, but him and Zach Kassian helped reignite the Battle of Alberta a few years ago.
True.
And hockey is better with emotion. I don't care who you are. It's better with emotion. And fighting is better when it's not the designated tough guys who only play 4 minutes a night. Like, I hated that in the late 90s and early 2000s. I hope we never see it again in hockey. But when you have skilled guys who are just willing to chuck it, and no one gets hurt, right? Like, you don't see the big KOs when it's not the trained fighters, Jeff. It just doesn't happen. Right. So you look at that and the emotion, the energy. Colton Parayko's, I think, had one fight in his life, and he looked like he knew what he was doing. He's throwing uppercuts. He doesn't want to break his hand. Like, it's great. No, everybody skates away. Everybody's fine, because that's 99.9% of the tilts in the NHL nowadays, because you don't have a lot of just, pure fighters who can't add anything else. And honestly, mentally, it's better, because you talk to those players, that was awful. Geez, I got to fight this behemoth, and he's got to fight me, and it's brutal. So, you don't have any of that leading up to it. Like, Brandon Hagel's not worried to fight Matthew Tkachuk. You know what I mean? He's like, I might get a broken nose, but he's not going to KO me, because he's not a trained fighter. And some of these NHL guys 25 years ago were becoming trained fighters. So I think it's great. It shows the emotion of the game, and hockey is the best when it has speed, when it has skill, and when it has the raw emotion like that. And that's why I think tonight you don't need fights like Charlie McAvoy's hit. No one even talk, like, that was a great Connor freaking McDavid.
Great.
Like, you don't see many guys get McDavid in the trolley tracks very often. He popped up. It's no problem. And I actually think the McAvoy absence is a huge blow for the U.S. And I think I think Canada's going to generate a lot more offense than it.
Don't disagree. Gregor, this has been great. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm going to join you on your show here in like an hour or so. So we'll reverse roles in a couple of moments.
Yeah, we love it. It should be fun. Everybody watching the show right now, they got to be pumped, man. Like, this is going to be the most watched game of the year, maybe the most watched game in a long, long time, and that's awesome. And Jeff, you were the one, and I give you credit. You had talked about best of fives.
Yeah,
and honestly,
U.S. Canada. Just give it to me.
U.S. Canada put Sweden, Finland. Like, look at Finland. You know what? Where's their best game of the tournament? Against their biggest rival. Like, come on, the rivalry games, man. It comes out. Pride is no joke. And
100%.
It would be awesome to have it.
I'm with you 1,000,000%. Thanks, Jason. You be good. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jeff.
The great Jason Gregor here on the program. Hockey better with emotion. I always think back to the greats. I think it was Punch Imlach who said it. We're going to have to stop all this fighting, or we'll need to build bigger buildings. With that, for some sanity, perhaps here, the great Shayna Goldman stops by from the Too Many Men podcast and The Athletic as well. And truth be told, you and I have one bag of dill pickled chips between us right now, Goldman. USA wins. I got to send you one. When Canada wins, you'll be sending me one. How are you, Shayna?
I'm great. If you're looking for me for the sanity check, though, I think you are in a lot of trouble.
Okay, then let me start with that. Are you getting caught up emotionally in this thing? Like, there is a wave, like, and the wave started Saturday with those first 9 seconds. Some people have hopped on the emotional wave that's led into today. Others have jumped on the roller coaster, jumped off it a little bit, tried to have a perspective check. Other have just said, F it, we're going for it. I don't give a fuck. I'm riding this wave. Here we go. Which one are you?
I'm like a little bit in between. Okay.
Okay.
Like, honest God, I love best on best hockey. The World Cup of Hockey I absolutely loved. I was there. I enjoyed the hell out of it, right? So I was pumped. I was so excited the second the puck dropped on Sweden, Canada. Like, to me, the emotion, the energy, it was all there immediately. So I was very excited about that. USA Canada, of course, Saturday night stirs up emotions for I feel like anyone watching, even if you're a casual fan, because it brought so much electric energy. I don't know how you couldn't feel something. But it is kind of interesting the way the narrative has shifted and what's been focused on lately, that it brings the wrong kind of emotion to things and sours it a little bit.
Okay, so this is what I sort of started the show off with today. I'm not sure if you got the top of the show, but I was talking about how moments like this, tournaments like this, tend to bring out both the best and the worst in people. And some want to, like my producer Zach here, wants to throw more logs on the fire, keep it burning, keep it burning. Other people like me, like, look, let's play the game and all that, and then turn the temperature down. And one of my favorite things in sports is at the end of a tournament or at the end of a big emotional game, I love the jersey swap. I really do. Like, and I was bringing up the example of 1976 and Team Canada and Czechoslovakia. I don't know that it would ever happen, but if at the end of this game tonight, Canada and the United States swapped jerseys, how would you feel?
I think certain players could pull it off. I don't want to see Brandon Hagel and Matthew Tkachuk swapping jerseys. I want them to hate each other because not only did it bring the energy Saturday night, but it's going to down the stretch with Tampa and Florida. Like, I want to see true rivalries from the NHL trailing into this series. Absolutely. But would I be upset if I saw, I don't even want to use this example because I feel like everyone will react poorly, but like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, real life teammates, like swapping jerseys, signing for each other. I think that could be really cool. Or guys who played, you know, in college together or were former teammates. If it was Sweden and USA and you saw Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond doing it, I think we'd all be like, that's sick. That's what you want to see, right? That's that brotherhood of hockey or whatever bullshit you want to call it that everybody loves so much. But that's what it is, right? Like, I think that I could get into, sign it, each other has it, it's a keepsake, cool. But otherwise, no, I want these guys to hate each other and I want it to continue through the year because that's what this is all about, right? Because after this, you have to snap out of your USA phase and you're Tkachuk and Matthews and you have to hate each other now because you might face each other in the playoffs.
Okay, so listen, so you're very much of the let's keep it snarky. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to grumble and throw more logs on the fire here. One of the things I've been asking everybody on the show, and if you have a Canadian one, I would love it as well. But as an American, favorite American hockey memory. I brought up or one of the things, I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's one moment that doesn't get enough attention. Like, I was talking about Bill Baker before he came on. 1980 was such a huge year for USA hockey, Miracle on Ice, etc. But if Baker doesn't score that goal against Sweden to make it 2-2, none of this happens. Like, we're not talking about Mike Ruggioni and Jim Gregg and the Miracle on Ice and all. We're not. If he doesn't score that goal with 27 seconds left in the game, I don't think that. I mean, it's kind of been sucked up in the history of hockey, and it's almost vanished. But do you have a favorite or maybe a low-key, this needs more attention, U.S. hockey moments that comes to your mind, Shayna Goldman? Or you could just say Jocelyn Larocque beating Canada.
Listen, I might be predictable, but I make a great point, okay? I had to watch years of Team Canada dominating the U.S. I had to have my soul crushed in 2014 with a 3-2 overtime win by who else but Marie-Philippe Poulin, the greatest player in the world, who I absolutely love, but every time it's USA Canada, I had to watch her like gritting my teeth because I knew she was just going to decimate my team.
By the way, are you talking about the golden hat trick? Not just the golden goal. Okay, anyhow, I digress. The most clutchiest player who ever clutched. MPP, continue.
Yeah, the superstar that she is and still is today. I mean, she's playing at a ridiculous level for Montreal, but it has to be 2018. Like, that was everything. That was a stay up late. Me and my best friend, we were texting during the 2014 when we were both in college. We weren't together. So 2018, we were together. We had snacks. We had things to stay awake. And we were watching it, you know, pinching each other to stay awake and just stay engaged, which wasn't hard because the game was so good. All the way down to the shootout. It was impeccable. It was the best Olympic or international moment for me.
But you know what? You know what's so true about that game, though? halfway through that game, and you could see it. Like, good on Shannon Sabados, because she was fantastic all the way through. I remember watching that thing. Like, I'm like you. I'm staying up late, and I'm like, Canada's out of gas. They are just getting skated. Like, I've never seen the Canadian women's team get skated into the ice the way they did that last game. They were going on fumes and just hanging on, just like, oh, let's get to the shootout, and maybe Maddie Rooney will surrender a couple of softies and will win. And she didn't. And Jocelyn Larocque ended up being the star. But I had never seen the
Jocelyn Lamoureux.
Oh, so I say Larocque?
USA
Lamoureux.
was
I
the star.
apologize.
You're saying Larocque. You were too Canadian.
Did I say
for me,
Larocque?
okay?
I meant Jocelyn Lamoureux.
A disgrace.
It's my
honestly.
Canadian. It's my Canadian showing. I apologize.
I know you're trying to have this revisionist history. Like, yeah, they won. They won then too. No, they didn't.
That's because I'm still in denial about the World Juniors in Saskatoon. That never happened. That tournament was canceled, and John Carlson never scored on Martin Jones. Never happened.
Never. Absolutely never. You've had so many gold medals and championships. Like, let us have one once in a while.
Not interested. Although it's a good chance of tonight. Like, listen, like I know it's hard to beat a team twice in a row at this level. I get that. But where are the vibes at tonight for Canada USA for Shayna?
The vibes, honestly, think Canada's going to win. I feel like this is going to be a repeat of what was it, 2010, when USA beat Canada when it didn't matter, and then when it does. Yeah, that is where my head is at.
So violin playing right now. Yes, very good. I'm enjoying this. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, you should. Okay, because when reality sets in and USA takes over. No, I mean, like, I think it's going to be a really good game. I know everyone wants to see the fireworks that we saw Saturday night. I don't think it starts that way again. And I've seen some of the questions. Do you think Canada is the one to amp it up this time to respond to USA? I don't think that happens in a million years, because if I'm Sidney Crosby, I'm saying, you're not doing that. We're going to play our game and we're going to win that way, and it's going to be just fine. But I think he's going to be the star of the game, because naturally he just comes to play in every international setting. It's unbelievable that Canada has two captain clutches that are as elite as it gets still in Crosby and Marie-Philippe Poulin, but I feel like they're going to be the players to watch, and I think we're going to get a 3-2 finish in overtime, because why wouldn't we? Oh,
jeez. I don't know about your blood pressure, but I'm not sure that at my advanced age, my blood pressure can handle that, Shayna Goldman. What are you going to, like, what are your not main takeaways, but, like, what do you think this tournament means to hockey, not so much in Canada here, because I don't think this tournament is making one new Canadian hockey fan, but it's making new fans in the States. Like, we're going through a period here where people that, and we get all these tweets about it, JJ Watt tweeting about it, like people that weren't hockey fans are watching this and going like, oh, I never knew it was like this, or oh, now I'm kind of, emotionally getting invested in hockey here. How much, like, do we have a sense of, like, how much this is going to resonate amongst non-hockey fans becoming hockey fans in the United States? I think you know what I'm getting at here. Like 1994, there's a great Sports Illustrated cover is hockey's hot and NBA is not, or something like that. NHL's hot, NBA's not. And then a couple of months into the season, there was an NHL lockout and it killed out that momentum. But there's like a momentum here in the United States. You're there, and I'm sure you can feel it and see it and read it and all of that, watch it. What does this do to hockey in the States, regardless of who wins tonight? What has this done for hockey in the United States?
Yeah, the 94 cover, you're dating me a little bit there, because I've only seen pictures of it.
I know.
Sorry, I just have to
I always bug Wyshynski about it, because I always say that that was the year that New Jersey Devils won half a cup.
Well, you're not wrong. Sorry. So I think it's a big thing for USA Hockey. The big question is going to be how it resonates. We don't know, right? Because we can't predict that right now. We don't know how the momentum is going to take hold the rest of the season and into the postseason, but we know that the momentum's there now. And I think that's the most important part of it, right? Everybody is talking about this. It is a huge moment for hockey. There's that excitement. I think John Cooper said it, right? It's 11 years or 9 years. I think he said 11 years for the Olympics, but it's 9 years technically since the World Cup of Hockey of bottled up international play that just like exploded onto the ice for USA Canada. And I think that's so true. I think that the interest is there to see that true best on best. And yes, this is the watered down version of it. I don't want to hear it. I know that. But you're getting USA versus Canada. You're getting the best of Sweden. You're getting mostly the best of Finland because they were so broken. But you're getting that right now on a national stage. It was on Channel 7 here on Saturday night, right? You have basic cable. You're flipping through. You might come across it, and it was so exciting, and it lived up to the hype, which was the most important thing right there, right? Because if it fell flat, nobody's talking about it, but it didn't. So there's this great opportunity to do it. I also thought the commentary, which I'm very critical of, was very good because I thought that it was good for a national audience. I thought Sean McDonough did a really good job introducing each player, who they are, what team they play for, maybe giving you a quick hit on them. Like Zach Werenski, he's in the Norris Trophy race. He's one of the best defensemen in the world. Josh Morrissey, he's in season 10 with the Winnipeg Jets. Quick hits is all you need in this setting, right? So now you're going to remember these players, and you might have watched that game and you're going to remember, Brady Tkachuk and Matthew Tkachuk. Well, now you might be interested in seeing where they play or what this energy might be in the postseason. If they can harness this and keep marketing this and bringing this up throughout the year as the playoffs, get near, I think it's going to pay off for the NHL. But it's about them taking the momentum and actually building off it, which they've struggled to do for literally ever.
One non-serious question I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to come back to your main takeaways from this tournament. In our chat, Southpaw says, is that a blue Game Boy color over Shayna's left shoulder?
It is purple with blue buttons. What side is it on?
Other left. Yeah, that left. Yeah, very good.
Okay, listen. It's something I struggle with.
Shoe with the L.
Yeah, it's like a modded one that it was flipped. It was a yellow Game Boy color that is now fixed up, and it's purple with blue buttons. And then I have over this shoulder, a little higher that you can't see.
Good. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, up there you can see there's a glow in the dark one with lime green buttons. I thought that would look really cool, and at night when it's like glowing with the screen, it looks sick.
That's awesome. One day, what I want to do, because like you, I read a lot. One day, maybe the next time you're on, I want to go through a couple of your books that you have behind you. But until we get there, what's going to be, regardless of what happens tonight, and we have no idea what's going to happen tonight. Canadian win. What's going to be your main takeaway from this tournament?
I think that the NHL should take note of some of the rule changes and how people responded to them, right? The 3-2-1 point system, a lot of people have been clamoring for, and expanded overtime. I don't think we'll ever get 10 minutes, but maybe 7 minutes, right? The color versus color matchup. It's little details, I think. I love it. I absolutely love it here, right? Like, it doesn't get much better than that Sweden-Canada matchup, the red versus yellow. Just to see something a little bit different, a little untraditional, I think would be good here. There's takeaways to make about players on the ice, right? Like, we could have a conversation right now about Connor Hellebuyck living up to the hype in a high-pressure situation, and maybe you say, maybe it's not the pressure. Maybe it's the fact that he's playing 80% of an 82-game season by the time the playoffs roll around. But I think that there are little things just to take from it, and the NHL can learn a lot. It's about being open to trying new things and experiment with these kinds of tournaments, right? See what people respond to and maybe lean into it instead of seeing what people respond to and going, well, we're never going to do that again.
Have you already bought the bag of Miss Vicky's?
I don't have the Miss Vicky's here.
Oh no, sorry, that's the one that I'm allegedly going to be sending.
Miss Vicky's.
Which one am I getting? Which bag am I getting here? When
if somehow your country pulls this off, you will be getting kettle cooked Trader Joe's.
Oh, that's right, Trader Joe's. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. I'll park it for a very special hockey night. You'll be getting the Miss Vicky's, which are near and dear to my heart as well, and you as well. You're the best. Always appreciate it when you stop by. Great insight, as always, and fun and emotion. Do you have love for the Tkachuk brothers here before we bid each other good afternoon? Because to me, they've really like, we talk about rising to the occasion and having a sense of where, like, what the moment needs, and whether you like fighting or not, what they did on Saturday, like, that was rising to that moment and making this sport bigger than it already is. Close out on the Tkachuks here.
I mean, I think everybody loves the potential for brothers, right? We almost had 2 sets of brothers on Team USA, which would have been so fun. But I want to give the moment to someone who hasn't gotten it as much. I want to give it to Brady Tkachuk, because we had no idea what he was going to look like in this environment. He's never been in the NHL postseason, and he has stood out. He has converted on his chances, which is a struggle he's had throughout his career. He has starred in the best way for Team USA. And I think guys like him and Dylan Larkin, who only has 5 games of postseason experience, like, I want to see what they do when the playoffs roll around, because he is someone you could see amp up his game when when the moment calls for it, and he absolutely did that. To me, it's Larkin. When we're talking like that, to me, Larkin's been, with all due respect, again, for my money and his ice time, I think he's been the best player. Absolutely, really, every time he's been out there, something happens. I've been so impressed by Dylan Larkin. Okay, on that, we'll let you go. What do you do when you're nervous, by the way? Rip my nails off? I don't know. Like, I'm a nail biter. I used to eat sunflower seeds. How are your nails looking? Are they okay? They're holding up? They're okay. I've been on like typing and pulling video and tweeting out numbers to keep my hands busy. If not, I crochet. Otherwise,
Okay.
I rip apart my nails.
Okay, well, I wish your nails all the best getting to the game tonight, and may the best team win tonight.
I hope everybody has fun. I hope we have fun. And I
We'll
hope we have fun watching it. That's what I care about.
I hope it's a good game. That's all I care about. You know me. That's all I care about.
Yep.
Thank you, Shayna. You be well.
Thank you.
There she is, the great Shayna Goldman from the Too Many Men podcast and also The Athletic. Okay, we're getting late in the day here. So we'd like to remind you there is a hockey game tonight, after all. FanDuel is proud to connect fans to the major sports moments that matter to them. And this is a major sports moment that matters to hockey fans. We've talked, Zach Phillips, about just do Canada, USA. Just do Canada. Give the people what they want. We had Uffe Bodin on the other day, and he was talking about, give us Sweden, Finland. We'll take that too. It's, emotion in hockey is not exclusive to Canadians or to Americans. What do you expect tonight? By the way, I want to give you a plug as well. You're going to be at Greta. Now,
Yes.
also, Nick's going to be there, right? Alberga's going to be there. Is producer Vic going to make an appearance? The Ghost. Is the Ghost going to be there?
I believe Vacation Vic will be there.
Okay, very
I
good.
also think we may have an appearance from the one and only Stephen Ellis.
Nobody, I'm confident saying this, nobody, and I mean nobody in the world watches more hockey. Hang on, let me caveat that. Watches more obscure hockey than Stephen
Okay,
Ellis. Than Stephen Ellis. That guy is a machine. I thought I watched a lot of hockey. Nope. Then I met Stephen Ellis. That guy watches hockey. Give out the deets real quick. Tonight at Greta.
Greta Bar, 590 King Street West, Toronto, Ontario. You can find it over at Open Table or give them a call if you're looking for a reservation or you want a table for a group, whatever it may be. It's free. There's no cost to get in there. You just have to say that you're coming and then get in the doors there. We did it on Saturday night. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately,
In a snowstorm.
Jeffrey, around here, the snowstorm happened.
Yeah.
We had sold the event out and we were worried that it wasn't going to go through. And I think there's probably still like 3/4 of the people who signed up still showed up. So it was pretty awesome. It was very fun to watch with a lot of other fans and everything like that. I'm really excited about it tonight. I will tell you this. I always like to say I'm not superstitious, and then I do stupid stuff, and then it's like, okay, yeah, you're superstitious. So today
What stupid stuff
I
did
washed
you
all
do?
my clothes. I made sure I'm not wearing the same underwear or socks, like different brands.
Oh, you're that
of
guy.
both.
You're that
I'm
guy.
wearing
That's
different
to change
pants, a different
everything.
shirt. On
wow.
Saturday, I wore a Canada jersey and a red bead necklace thing that Alberga gave me. Not wearing that tonight. I wore the Small Town Strip Club hat on Saturday. Love them. Love the hat. Will not be wearing it tonight.
What you wearing then? You wearing that hat?
I'm wearing this. I think I'm going off the path here. Like we're going away from what we just had. Like I got to change some things up here. Change the vibes. Yeah, I gotta change this whole setup.
I like how you said, I'm gonna do things different. I washed my clothes. Like that's somehow more different. Like what do you do? Like turn your clothes inside out? You're back at university trying to get double the wear out of them? Nope, don't gotta go to the laundromat. Just turning this inside out. We're all good.
No. Well, yeah, that I did kind of sue myself on that. There's no avoiding that. Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun tonight. When I ask you, favorite moments, USA, and we throw around a lot of hockey history lately. Like, is this one that you? I don't want to say do you care about because we all care about this game. Like this is a really big game, but of all the games that you've watched so far in your life, whether it's international hockey, whether it's NHL, like all of it, like do you have a sense of where this one fits in for you, or are you not going to understand that until the game's over?
I think going into it, it's already pretty high up. I mean, one of the big things, you and I have talked about it a lot, is that I haven't gotten the same degree of international experience of best on best. And I know there's people missing, so when I say best on best, there's obviously a caveat. But I haven't had it. World Cup of Hockey was fine, but even then I was kind of... I don't know. You could speak to it as well. You were very much more involved in it. It didn't have this feel, did it? Like, I don't think so. I don't think that 2016 World Cup of Hockey was the same. North America made it weird. Having the European team made it weird.
Pause on that. That was what made it. Because it's funny, too. Coming out of that tournament, the one thing that I take away, I think a lot of people take away, is a team that didn't do anything. It's a team that didn't win championship, didn't come close to winning the championship, but got everybody really excited about how they were playing, and this was the next wave of hockey play, and that was Team North America. They played great. Like, they looked super cool. The uniforms were great. Like, all of it. But the team didn't piss a drop. They were just, like, super entertaining. We all loved it. Couldn't stop. Like, I mentioned to you on the show last week, I think it was. I think it was like a random Tuesday or Thursday afternoon, just going in and watching North America versus Sweden, one of the great games of this generation. Just sitting there with me and Dello, now the assistant general manager of Carolina, just sitting there watching, like, just on a random afternoon in August in Toronto, just sitting here going, like, at a certain part of the game, we're like, this is like one of the best games we've seen in a long time. But there was no like, ooh, Canada going into Team Europe here for the final. Oh, what's this? Like, no, not like this. Not, you're 100% right about that. But here's the other thing too, and this is why I like being here at Daily Faceoff / The Nation Network. Like, I tend to lose sight of the idea. Like, I just fraudulently and wrongly, I just assume that everybody has seen everything that I've seen, right? And like I mentioned, like 76 was my first big tournament. I just assume that everybody's seen a ton of international hockey, and being here, like, there's a lot of people, that, like younger people like yourself, that wake up and just like burn and like passion for hockey and all of that, and that's great, and I love it. I always gotta every now and then check myself and say, like, they haven't seen all these things. Like, their window to see hockey is going to extend past mine. Certainly, when I die, Zach, you're still going to be watching a lot of hockey games and be like, yeah, Marek told me about 76. I don't know, Sittler, Zarilla, I don't know, some about Hasek's favorite goalie. I forget now. Anyway, let's now that hockey has no blue lines and no center line, and the rinks are bigger, and anyway, and not even playing on ice anymore. But I tend to forget that, like, there's this whole generation of hockey fans that haven't seen a whole lot of best on best. I just grew up with it. So I just assume that everybody, arrogantly, just assume that everybody's growing up with it. And it's a good check for me. It's a really good check for me.
Yeah, and I mean, to that, like, we did get it, obviously. We got 2014, and we get the World Juniors and all that stuff. But, I feel like, in a way, it's 2010's kind of been a high that I've been chasing from, like, my international hockey competitive standpoint
chasing
15 chasing the dragon for 15 years. Like, even for me, 2014, I was in high school during Sochi, and relatively that was a kind of a boring tournament, and it was like, okay, Mike Babcock, low scoring hockey, which is fun, but when you relate back to what I had just seen 4 years earlier, not the same. 2016, I was watching that tournament going into my first year of university in my dorm, like on a TV smaller than the computer monitor I have sitting in front of me right now, just being like, wow, what is Austin Matthews going to do for us? This is different. This has been something I've been looking for a long time. The Tkachuks, they have done an unbelievable job of pulling me in even further than I had already anticipated. But, like, I listened to everybody who came on here today. Gregor has me ready to run through a wall. I'm hoping that that Loud Luxury tonight, like, makes this a Canada, a massive party for Canada after, so Laz can enjoy himself, but not really. And then, at the end there, Shayna brings up rivalries, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to see jersey swaps. Like, I want the hatred. And hatred is an interesting word to use there, because I don't think they hate each other. If you put them in a room, I think they're probably good people and they're fine, but they hate each other. And that's what drags me into it, and it feels real, and it feels like what's going on in the ice drags out further, and I'm ready to run through a wall right now. Like, I don't even. I'm gonna go listen to Nickelback, burnt Canadian music only. Like, I'm gonna eat female bacon and maple syrup and Canadian organic farm fresh, all that shit, Jeff. And I'm gonna go nuts here ahead of this.
How hungover will you be for this show tomorrow? Let's close on that.
I'm a pro. I will be fine. I'm a pro.
So 2 big coconut waters before you go to bed. That's what you're saying. All right, very good.
Can I show you something actually quickly here before?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Last thing.
Yeah,
so you asked for favorite hockey Canada-US moments,
Yeah.
and I thought about them, and there's the obvious ones. US. TJ Oshie, and I think that was because of the bigger picture stuff and watching all that. The first time I ever felt heartbreak that I could remember from an international level was John Carlson's goal. I remember seeing that happen and being devastated seeing that. Canada, there's easy ones: Crosby, golden goal, Jordan Eberle, etc. I think the Taves shootout was one that stood out to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have something for you. I asked my mom for it. She got it for me right before the show went, and I want to show this to you because it's got some people that we know in it as well.
Okay.
One time in my life, I've gotten to play for Canada in a U.S. thing. It's not really for Canada, but
is it one of those
when we were
Can-Ams?
playing minor hockey.
Was it a
playing
Can-Am?
the Can-Am tournament.
Oh,
yes.
no way.
And we had Canadian teams and American teams.
Yeah.
And all
My
the
kids do
Canadian
that. It's
teams
great.
wore
It's
Canadian
awesome.
jerseys.
It's great.
Yes. So we got thumped in one of the games. I remember this, the kind of the only thing I remember outside of the fact that I got to wear the Canadian uniforms. He lost like Sean Day's Detroit Little Caesars pretty badly.
Oh, he was so good. Dude, he was so good then.
Unbelievable. But I have the picture of the team. In the picture there,
Wow.
in the front,
Simcoe
or if you
Express.
look in the second row,
Yeah.
from the first to the outside.
Is that Robert
me.
Thomas?
That is Robert Thomas in there on the far right
second
side.
row, far right. That totally looks like Robert Thomas now. Holy jeez.
The guy who's standing
Wow.
beside me is Cameron Wright, who plays for the Bakersfield Condors. And then if you look in the back row,
Hang on, which one?
towards
Which
the
one is
middle,
you? Hang on, which one is you here?
Second row, far left, short hair.
Oh, you're far left. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. The world hasn't beaten him down yet. He's not as cynical as he is now. A glint of optimism in his eyes. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yep.
Yep. And then back row, very middle. You know who that is. Come on.
Ryan De Silva. Look at
Yes.
that
Yes.
person.
But but I want to show that. I thought it was really cool. My mom
actually
sent
throw
it
that
over,
throw,
so-
throw that up again. Throw that up again. Here's
Yeah.
the thing about that. So in the middle there, Ryan De Silva, and this is the York Simcoe Express playing the 2010 Can-Am. Ryan De Silva is now a coach with the York Simcoe Express.
Right. Right.
That is a full circle moment. Meanwhile, Robert Thomas, second row right, is making $1 bajillion.
Yeah, seriously.
You're working with me. Let the
Yeah.
gravity of that sink in for a second, Zach Phillips.
Yeah.
I always tell you
I
about
know.
making good decisions. Good decisions out there, folks. All right, let's sign off. Thanks so much for joining me today and joining me and Zach today. And don't forget to check out Zach at Greta Bar tonight on King Street for tonight's matchup if you are in the Toronto area. And no matter what happens tonight, we're on the air tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern with Brian Burke. Always a favorite around these parts. And after a night like this is going to be, he's one of, if not possibly the best guest to have. If you're in the chat, I can't stop watching you. Can't stop reading the comments. They're all excellent. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I know the shelf life of this show isn't very long, so thanks for sticking it out with me here today. We're back tomorrow again with Brian Burke, 3 o'clock Eastern on the sheet. A special edition of Morning Cup of Hockey tomorrow, the rare Friday edition at 9 o'clock Eastern. Daily Faceoff Live, I believe, tomorrow at noon. Or maybe that one is on hiatus, considering it might be a travel day for the guys. We shall see. But at any rate, we'll be here at 3 o'clock Eastern, me and Zach and Brian Burke. Thanks so much for joining me. Back tomorrow. Man, tonight's going to be fucking awesome. Enjoy it. We'll talk tomorrow. If you enjoyed that video, and we certainly hope that you do, please hit the subscribe button right there here at Daily Faceoff. I will put this lineup up against any hockey lineup anywhere. It all gets underway at 9 o'clock Eastern with Morning Cup of Hockey. That is Jonny Lazarus. That is Colby Cohen. Then at noon, it's DFO Live. And then 3 o'clock Eastern, The Sheet. Get caught up on everything in hockey.